Well, hello everyone. I never expected to find my purpose in a small Filipino town, yet there I was, standing before the centuries old image of Our Lady of Piat, feeling something shift inside me. My name isn't important, but my journey might be, especially for those making or seeking meaning in an increasingly chaotic world. The Basilica hummed and whispered prayers with flickering candles. I had come to Piat as a YouTuber researching religious pilgrimage, but I found myself transfixed by more than just the historical significance of this place. The statue before me, dark shine, serene, draped in ornate vestments, had drawn millions of devotees over the centuries. But it wasn't the statue itself that changed me, it was the story of Mariana. I met Mariana on my second day in Piat. She was in her 70s, her face mapped with wrinkles that deepened when she smiled, which was often. She approached me as I sat alone in the church courtyard, wrestling with my notes and the growing sense that this adventure wasn't giving me what I had anticipated. Something sensational, perhaps miraculous. You look troubled, she said, sitting beside me with the easy confidence of someone who has consoled many troubled souls before. Are you a pilgrim or just passing through? Neither, really, I admitted. I'm writing about the Lady of Piat, but I'm struggling to understand what draws people here. Mariana's eyes crinkled at the corners. Let me tell you about my lady, she said. Not the one everyone thinks they know. She told me how, as a young woman, she had been consumed by bitterness. Her husband had abandoned her with 3 small children, leaving her penniless and humiliated in the village. For years, she worked herself into exhaustion, taking in laundry and selling street food, barely keeping her family fed. I hated him, she confessed it. I hated God, I hated everyone who had an easier life than me. One day, desperate and at her breaking point, Mariana had walked the long journey to Piat, not out of devotion, she explained, but because she had heard that the church sometimes gives assistance to the poor. When she arrived, exhausted and angry, she found herself standing before the image of the Virgin. I looked up at her face, so peaceful, so sure, and I felt such a rage. Mariana said, I demanded to know why she had let this happen to me, why she sat there looking so serene while I suffered. What happened next was a miracle in a non-traditional sense. No voice spoke from heaven. The statue didn't weep or move. Instead, an elderly woman, a regular devotee, approached Mariana and said without a word, embrace her. She held me while I cried, Mariana said. Then she took me to her home, fed me, listened to my story. For 3 days I stayed with her. She helped me find work in Piat better than I had before, but more importantly, she showed me what it meant to live with purpose. That woman had dedicated her life to serving pilgrims who came to see the Lady of Piat, not just the wealthy ones who left generous donations, but the desperate ones, the angry ones, the ones who came with nothing but their pain. She told me something that I never forgot, Mariana continued. The true miracle of Our Lady isn't that she grants wishes, it's that she shows us how to become vessels of compassion ourselves. Mariana returned to her village transformed, not by divine intervention, but by the example of one woman who embodied the qualities attributed to the Virgin: compassion, strength, and selfless love. She started small, offering free meals to children in her neighborhood once a week. Then she created a support network for single mothers. Over decades, her initiatives grew, touching hundreds of lives. I never became rich or famous, she said with a laugh, but I found purpose. The Lady of Piat didn't change my circumstances, she changed how I responded to them. As Mariana spoke, I realized I was hearing the real story, not about a miraculous statue, but about how faith transforms when it inspires action. The Lady of Piat's power wasn't in magical intervention, but in molding a way of being that called forth the best in her devotees. In the days that followed, I met dozens more people like Mariana, a doctor who returned to Cayenne province after training abroad, declining lucrative positions to serve in his community, a teacher who started literacy programs for elderly farmers, a group of young entrepreneurs creating sustainable opportunities in the region. All of them traced their purpose back to this place, to the example of unwavering dedication they found in the story of the Lady of Piat and in the community that had grown around through the centuries. What struck me the most was how their transformations ripped outward. Each person whose lives had been redirected through connection with this place went on to touch countless others. The mathematics of positive change was exponential. My own transformation was quieter, but no less profound. I had come to Piat hunting for sensational stories, but found instead a template for the meaning of existence. For years I chased bylines and accolades, measuring my worth through external validation. In Piat, surrounded by people who found purpose beyond themselves, I began questioning my own path. The script I eventually wrote wasn't as I had expected. Instead of focusing on claims of miraculous healings, I told Mariana's story and others like it. I wrote about the Lady of Piat not as a dispenser of wishes, but as a catalyst for personal transformation and community service. What I've learned is that transformation rarely happens through dramatic events. More often, it comes through encounter with another person, a story, or a tradition that awakens something already within us. The Lady of Piat didn't give Mariana something new. She helped her discover what was already there, the capacity for compassion and meaningful action. I've also learned that purpose isn't found in grand gestures, but in consistent presence. Mariana didn't change her world overnight. She began with weekly meals for neighborhood children. The doctor didn't revolutionize healthcare in Cayenne. He simply showed up, day after day, providing care and dignity and respect. Perhaps most importantly, I learned that transformation is contagious. When we witness someone living with a clear purpose, it challenges our own choices and priorities. It makes us ask, what am I serving? How am I using my gifts? What will my legacy be? The Lady of Piat continues to draw pilgrims from across the Philippines and beyond. Some come seeking miracles, but the real miracle of Piat isn't found in grand wishes. It's found in the community of transformed lives, in the network of compassion that has grown around this centuries-old devotion. And perhaps the most powerful lesson from the Lady of Piat, true transformation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming fully who we already are. About recognizing the capacity for meaningful action and lies dormant within each of us, waiting to be awakened. As I write these words, I'm reminded of what Mariana told me on my last day in Piat. The Lady didn't give me a new life, she said. She helped me see the one I already had with new eyes. Maybe we all should be fortunate to find our Piat, the encounter that helped us see with new eyes and live with new purpose. Well, thank you for coming to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye bye.